Everybody, welcome to this nighttime vlog, this Python course complete celebration vlog. Maybe a little premature because I'm still waiting for edits from my editor, but that's like, 20 minutes, half an hour of work, it misspelled that word, etc., etc. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's a huge monkey off my back because producing one of my courses is a lot of work. So in this vlog, I want to talk about the move towards minimalism, So if you've been watching any of my vlogs, you know that I'm a big proponent of minimalism, whether it be in your code, simpler codes, better to code, in your writing, using simpler terms, stripping out unnecessary words from your writing, etc., etc., etc. So now I'm looking to extend this in terms of my physical footprint, if you will. So I'm here in my place, and I look around, and people tell me that I'm pretty sparse relative to other people in many regards. But in other ways, I'm pretty obnoxious in the sense that I have very expensive furniture. All designer pieces, Eames, Roche-Beaubois, stuff like that. If you know those names, you look them up, you see that it ain't cheap. C'est très cher, as they say in French. So here's the thing though. I went on a furniture buying thing up until about 6 years ago, I think it was, where I was going crazy, buying super expensive couch and super expensive this and super expensive that. And I'm getting to the point where it's, I feel it's become a burden on me now. A mental burden. There's no cost of owning furniture but once you've bought it, right? But it's becoming a mental burden in that I'm thinking of downsizing just because of, I've been looking at minimalism, revisiting that again. Again, I got that from martial arts as well, right? In everything that I do, I find that minimalism is really, really beneficial. And I saw this video on minimalism recently, and it's really sparked something in me in that regard. So I'm really considering going totally minimal. In fact, my big plan in about a year and a half, give or take, when the self-driving cars hit the market, I know Audi, BMW, Mercedes, depending on the make, they're going to be releasing their self-driving cars, not fully autonomous, but level 3, which means they'll be able to drive you on the highway, which is a huge thing for me because that's the most boring part about driving, is being on the highway for hours and hours and hours, having to pay attention and so forth. So when those self-driving cars come up, I'm making the big move and going to get one. And my plan is, all things being equal, is I'm going to be a wandering nerd hobo. Yeah, wandering nerd. And what do I mean by that? I plan on shuttering this place, maybe subletting my place here, or just getting rid of my place, getting rid of most of my furniture, just keeping some very key pieces, some of my favorite designer pieces, putting them in storage or maybe sticking in my father's basement or something. And then I'm going to drive over to Audi, sell my convertible, and get a self-driving car. I'm not sure what I'll get, but that's the plan. And I'm going to hit the road. And what I want to do is I want to visit many places across North America, mostly in the US, but I want to spend at least 6 months, maybe a year traveling. These days, when you're a business owner, a technology business owner, people who work for me, they work from home, they work remotely. I rarely see them. We do video chats and emails and so forth. So there's really no reason for me to be stuck in a particular place. I'm not married. I have no kids. And as far as I know. So it makes sense. It makes no sense for me to stay in one place necessarily. Most of my friends, I see them once a month maybe. Everybody's busy. Everything I do is phone, Facebook, email. Well, mostly phone, email, text. So it kind of makes sense to want to get out there and visit all these cool places that you have in the US and North America and spend a good year. So that's the plan. And it's all part of this minimalism thing. If you think about it, if you go to hotels, if you're staying in the hotels every day for a long time, you could probably get some really good rates in terms of corporate rates. And considering my cost of living here, it might be just slightly more expensive to actually be on the road, traveling all these different destinations relative to what I spend around here. And I know that's not for everybody, but it is for me. And I just want to visit all these places while I still can. Now, I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm still, relatively young and so forth. But I know from older relatives and friends of mine, people in their 60s and 70s, they can't travel anymore, health reasons and so on. So I figured now's the time to do it. And so you're asking yourself, well, why don't you just fly? It's not the same. For me, I really like road trips. And I discovered that about 8 months ago, where I went down to the States. I did the Rust Belt. And I went down, visited clients and friends, and my furthest I went away was Chicago, visited some partners down there. And I drove the whole thing. I said, you know what, I'm just going to drive the bloody thing. So I took 7 days, and I just took my time going over the place, Ohio and Buffalo, New York, and then Chicago, then up into Canada to Sarnia and back to Toronto, yada, yada, yada. It was the greatest trip ever. I loved it. I loved it. I just love cruising on the highway. Now, to enjoy your cruise on the highway, you need a few things. You need a real good car. You need lots of music and audiobooks. You need to take breaks every 2 hours. And you need to drive at moderate pace. And I won't get into the details beyond that. But if you do that, road trips are amazing, super fun. And you get yourself a good cell phone plan. You can talk with people hands-free as you're driving, take breaks, Now imagine with a self-driving car. That's like a dream. Because again, the worst part about the road trips, if you're going to call it the worst part, is the highway driving. So with the self-driving car, level 3, which are coming out in about a year and a half, there you go. It's perfect. If it could take over 3-4 hours of the day of your driving, it's fantastic. So this is all related back to minimalism. I don't need all this stuff. I don't need all this junk. I have huge TVs that I never watch. I always watch video on my laptop. And I have a very good stereo, which I rarely listen to. In fact, stereo in my Audi is far, far better. 14 speaker surround sound. Bang & Olufsen. It just sounds amazing in my car, so I listen to more music in my car than anywhere else. Yada, yada, yada. So minimalism, very appealing. Sell the stuff, keep only some prime pieces, get on the road, travel around North America, visiting people, friends, clients, different locations. Start in Maine and Boston and New York and down to the Carolinas and Florida and New Orleans and Texas and Yellowstone Park. You get the idea. Great time, great life experience, and small footprint. What do you need to bring? 1 week worth of clothes. You stay at a hotel. They wash your clothes for $10, $15, whatever. You move on. If you need something for some reason you forget, just go buy it. No big deal. And that's it. Laptops are so powerful. I'm editing 4K video on my ultra-thin laptop with no problems. You don't need a huge computer anymore. The only thing I might do is I might take my flat screen panel, my 27-inch monitor, just put that in the trunk so I can set that up and do my work. That's pretty much it. So I might do that because now that all my infrastructure work is done, I moved from the physical servers to the VPS, which is white glove, fully serviced servers. The app is very solid and done. Studio Web 4 is in production now. Again, I don't need to be around to have that done. So it's very appealing to me, I have to tell you. There's an old, I think it's Buddhist, could be Zen, but I think it's Buddhist. They say, in time, that which you possess will come to possess you. And I can tell you, 100% that's the case. I'm starting to feel bound by all this expensive furniture. I spend $9,000 on that piece, and I spend $3,000 on that piece, and you're really reluctant to get rid of it because you spend so much money. If you spend hardly any money on these things, you're just like, well, whatever, I can replace it like this. So anyway, food for thought. Minimalism is very appealing. Very appealing.